Welcome to The Breakfast Show on Faith FM. This is the best place to start your day with positive and uplifting thoughts.
You're listening all across Australia on 87.6, 87.8 or 88 depending on where you are. Or you can listen to us through our Faith FM app wherever you are in the world.
And today, if you are listening live, is Wednesday the 13th of May. I'm in the studio with Lindsay. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And on the other side of the studio, I have Mr. Elliot commanding the desk. Good morning to you, Elliot.
Good morning.
And producer Shell sitting as the kingmaker. She is training Elliot to become the master of all electronic things on this planet. Good morning to you, producer Shell.
On this planet, my goodness.
I'm the little grasshopper. She's the master sensei.
Look, I'll tell you a thing, Elliot. Producer Shell, she has a secret agent role here in the studio. She protects us from the uprising of the AI and the robots. She doesn't like me to say that.
Thank you, Shell. We appreciate your service.
She holds, if something goes wrong, she'll press the buttons, she'll trigger the anti-electromagnetic pulse gun, and all of the electronic equipment is just going to die, and we'll be safe. So you better learn the ropes. Like, on her hands, the faith of humanity rests. So you better learn that part of the job as well as you click the buttons there. And let's start with our word of gratitude here today. Lindsay, I am very grateful that yesterday I'm learning a new technique.
Yes.
Of running.
Oh, of running?
Yeah, it turns out that I bought a book about running, how to run better, and it turns out I never run right one day in my life, according to that book.
Okay.
So the book says that I had to the motion that I had to do with my legs is kind of have to scrape a chewing gum off the sole of my feet.
Oh.
And then my heel needs to be going up, really up next, kind of a level with my buttocks, pretty much.
Oh.
And then repeat that with the other leg and doing so. But then it turns out it's quite tiring to do that.
Really?
But apparently that's the optimal mechanics. And the arms have to be moved in a parallel fashion to the body, not crossing over like I used to. So anyway, found out that I don't know how to run. One of the most basic human forms of transportation, and I had no clue about it, but I'm thankful that I'm trying something new. So,
man, I'd love to see you trying to train this. That would be very entertaining.
Actually, it looks pretty good, I think. It looks like one of these, action movies in Hollywood.
Oh, okay. I'll let you believe that.
Yeah. What about you? What are you grateful for?
Ooh, I am grateful, honestly, just for catching up with friends. I had a friend call me back just yesterday, and we hadn't caught up for a while. So, yeah, just love catching up with all the people that I love from around the country, from around the world. It's something that makes my heart sing.
Okay, sounds great. Well, we are going to talk about the story of the lady in Shunem that received a son from the Lord, but she lost the son as well. What is God going to do about her tragedy? We're going to be exploring that today and see what lessons can we learn from that story. I think that's quite a few. We're also going to be talking about theology today.
Okay.
Who knows the Bible better, Pope Leo XIV or President Donald Trump?
Oh, goodness.
According to, we're going to see one pastor that thinks that Trump knows the Bible better than the Pope.
Of course he does.
So we're going to talk about that one. We are also going to have an interview with Maria Andrioli.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
I've already told Skafy what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next is quiz time, and I'm going to beat him.
Yeah, I think that Lindsay woke up with an extra dose of confidence this morning. This is exactly what we need for today's show, Lindsay. Good on you. So let's see. This is good. You know what? I'm going to play on a plain level field here.
Yeah.
I am going to go for speed as well today.
Good.
So let's see what happens.
It would be lovely to see that.
A little bit of healthy competition in the morning.
Healthy
Nothing
compo.
like it. All right. First quiz question of the day. What does Jeremiah 49 verse 36 say the wind is going to do to Elam? The There you go. I'll read it again. What does Jeremiah 49 verse 36 say the wind is going to do to Elam? I'm going to say we got 2 incorrect answers here, actually.
Too fast, but highly inaccurate answers.
Still incorrect answers. I'm going to, if anyone knows what the answer is, you can text
I
us
need
in.
tips. I don't know. I have no idea.
0491.
I'm glad we were both quick and wrong, and not just me
but
quick and
that
wrong.
was that was a difficult one, man.
Yeah.
I'll read it one more
It's
time.
definitely not a passage that I read again and again
Yeah.
in my devotions.
No.
What does Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 36 say the wind is going to do to Elam? If you know the answer, text us into 0491
I have a third
064 669.
How about third attempt? If this one is wrong, I do not know what is right.
I mean, it's true, but it's not the right
yes,
answer.
I got it. I said something not good.
I think that's a
I
shotgun
cannot
method.
be wrong here. Yes, sure. I mean, it's not the most precise answer in the world.
It is so imprecise.
accurate. I mean, it could be the opposite, right? It can be bringing good things.
Yeah,
good tidings.
wind is not bringing good tidings in the Bible at any point in time.
I don't know.
No.
There you go, starting off the day with a bang.
Oh, well, I'm glad we were both humbled in that moment, not just me. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll definitely learn something new today here on The Breakfast Show. Speaking of which, we are going to open up our Bible. We are going to see the second story of a miracle in 2 Kings chapter 4. Are you ready, Lindsay?
I am ready, Freddie.
All right. So let's go 2 Kings chapter 4. We are going to look at the verse 8.
Verse 8.
Yes, and I'll ask your permission to stop you on your tracks at any given moment in time if I find something nice that we need to discuss, okay?
I will give you permission to interrupt me.
Thank you so much. All right, let's go verse 8, please.
Sure. Now it happened one day that Elisha went to Shunem.
Stop.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm just testing.
Okay.
Just testing their brakes if they're working well. They're working well. All right, let's keep going.
Let me start again. Now it happened one day that Elisha went to Shunem, where there was a notable woman, and she persuaded him to eat some food. So it was, as often as he passed by, he would turn in there to eat some food. And she said to her husband, "Look now, I know that this is a holy man of God who passes by us regularly. Please let us make a small upper room on the wall, and let us put a bed for him there, and a table and a chair and a lampstand. So it will be, whenever he comes to us, he can turn in there." And it happened one day that he came there, and he turned into the upper room and lay down there. Then he said to Gehazi his servant, "Call the Shunammite woman." When he had called her, she stood before him. And he said to him, "Say now to her, look, you have been concerned for us with all this care. What can I do for you? Do you want me to speak on your behalf to the king or to the commander of the army?" She answered, "I dwell among my own people."
Okay, let's pause here.
Sure.
What's happening here, Lindsay? This is a very endearing story. It starts in a, I
Yeah.
think, very beautiful way, right?
Yeah. It starts off with,
So tell us what's happening here. Let's summarize it for us.
yeah, so Elisha went to this town called Shunem, and there's a notable woman, so I guess probably a wealthy or influential woman there, right? Mm-hmm. And she has the means to share, and so she's like, "Hey, you're a man of God, come hang out at my place, and every time you pass by it, come and I will feed you." And look, if she's a wealthy woman, she's got servants and she's got money to spend, she's probably got good, yummy, exotic food. So he's like, "You know what, sure, I will come by here whenever I get the chance. Like, I'm not going to pass up an offer like that." Right?
Yeah.
So he goes and visits, and there's a room for him to stay in. So it's like a little private Airbnb for him to go to. And so he's there often, and he's like, "I'm so grateful. Like this woman and her family have been so generous and been so hospitable towards me. Surely I can do something in return. Like, I'm connected to God. Like I can ask anything for this woman. Surely I can help her somehow. What does she really want?" And so That's the question. What do you want? Is there something that you need? Is there somewhere I can go above and beyond to respond to your kindness and your generosity?
Yeah, this is an amazing woman, and I think that's a good summary, Lindsay. I like the fact here, a few things that draw my attention. I like the fact that even though she's a very notable woman, she's also very respectful of her husband. Mm-hmm. She's a powerful person. We'll see. She's a person of her, with her own mind, with her own authority, and yet she comes to the husband and says, "Hey, can we please do this?" I mean, she has all the means to do this. She doesn't. She wouldn't necessarily need to, but she's a godly woman herself, and just, "Hey, can we please build this upper room so that we can, offer to this man of God, better accommodations. He can stay a little bit longer with us." They probably enjoyed his company. But then there's another thing that I find curious here.
Okay.
Remember the previous story that we read yesterday about the lady with the, the lady who was
with the
a
oil.
widow?
Yep.
Like, Elisha spoke directly to her.
Yeah, that's true.
In this case, Elisha never talks directly to the lady.
That's true.
He always talks to her through an intermediary, Gehazi. Gehazi.
I wonder if that has to do with, I guess, the etiquette of the time for somebody of her station. Like, if she is a notable woman, if she comes from a wealthy background, like maybe there's like levels of etiquette involved.
I think so. I think there's a level of etiquette, but I'm wondering if this etiquette is because of her or if it's because of him. Because he is an authority. And he's like the most famous person in Israel.
Yeah, sure.
Elisha. He has access, like free access to the king. This is why he said to her, "Look, do you want me to intercede before the king on your behalf? Or with the commander of the army? Like, I can do all these things." So Elisha himself is also a dignitary.
It sounds like a very formal conversation.
Very formal conversation. There is some distance there. There's some boundaries there.
It doesn't sound like a casual conversation that you have at dinner, right? It sounds like we're going to have a formal meeting and I want to have this conversation like in a public sort of setting.
Yeah. And perhaps, look, as you mentioned, she's a notable woman, and the Bible says that. So she's a busy person. And when you talk to really busy people, for example, presidents and like executives.
There's a whole entourage involved.
Yeah, usually they have like secretaries and say, "Look, let my secretary organize a meeting with your secretary."
Yeah, my people will talk to your people and we'll get this happening.
Because sometimes, look, your busy schedule, I don't want to be inconvenient. And Elisha, like, because she was, we're speculating here. We're trying to build a picture here to understand that. But if she was a busy woman, it looks like she was a woman of means. She was a busy woman. If Elisha just came by and said, "Hey, excuse me, lady, I want to talk to you," it could be a little bit disruptive because she would 100% want to give him attention. But at the same time, he doesn't want to disturb her in her affairs. So, I said the Gehazi, look, Gehazi, you can wait until the most opportunistic moment to talk to her while I'm busy doing other things. So I think that there is an element of respect towards her. Also, an element of, Elisha walking around with a servant, Gehazi, slash bodyguard, I would even say, a little bit to a certain degree. Not a high-profile bodyguard, but we'll see that he is also kind of, Gehazi also tried to protect Elisha from, unwelcome attempts perhaps to contact at him. We don't know exactly, but that's the picture that the Bible is drawing here. There is a degree of separation here, but there's a relationship where both parties really enjoy the company of each other and they admired each other's company. Certainly, when she invited him to have lunch, I would imagine that they would have spoken about things as well. So it's not that Gehazi is the only mediator, but for the day-to-day, Gehazi is there. And I think that this points out to the reality of these women being extremely important and Elisha also being very important.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the setting here. And when he asked her, "Hey, do you want me to talk to the king or to the commander of the army?" She says, "Look, I thank you, but look, I have no need. I live among my own people." Like,
she's happy, she's content, she's got all her loved ones around her.
Yeah, she's happy. It's almost like she said, "Look, if I want to talk to the king, look, I could do it.
Yeah.
It's not that I necessarily need that help. But she's saying that in, again, very polite way. She's a very polite woman, this one. Like, I live among my people. I'm so good. I'm not doing this for any favors. Just doing here because you're a man of God. We enjoy your company here. To have you here with us is the same thing as having God with us. So look, don't worry about anything. We're just here to bless you. But Elisha was not content or happy with that level of answer. And because this is where we're getting to the soft skills side of things.
Yeah.
One of the soft skills that we need to learn, and I think that the Bible tells us that is to, sometimes people say things, but there's things that they're beyond what they're saying. Sometimes people say, oh, look, you don't need to worry about me. But in reality, people would appreciate if you worry about them. Or if you help them, if you bless them. So Elisha said, okay, I'm not getting her needs straightforward from her, but everybody has needs. I think this is the assumption that Elisha is having here. Everybody has some needs, even people that appear to have everything, they also have needs. And I think this teaches us, okay, I think this is the first big lesson for me, Lindsay.
Okay.
When we're ministering to people that have it all, wealthy people, often we can get, as Christians, quite intimidated.
Yeah.
Actually, often that what can happen is that Christians, that when they see the lifestyle of the wealthy that are not Christians, sometimes they are envious and coveting of their lifestyle.
True.
It's like, what do I have to offer them?
Yeah.
And it's often very intimidating. And what Elisha is teaching us in that story, that everybody has needs. Everybody's a person, even the wealthiest of the wealthy. They have needs. They have family needs. They have family issues. They have health issues. They have issues with meaning and purpose. Their ultimate need is God, and being able to pray for them for the needs that they do have is actually a privilege. That if you're a Christian and if you have friends in high places, in wealthy places, hey, you know what? One of the greatest ministries you can do for them is asking, how can I pray for you? Is there anything you'd like for me to pray for you? Look, worst case scenario, they will say, no, thanks. Normally, I have a number of wealthy friends that I had the privilege of, developing a friendship with. Sometimes they just give you like a generic prayer request. Yeah, pray for my family, pray for my health, pray for this, pray for that. And you pray for all this. And they are very, these friends of mine have been very grateful. But if you build that consistency, sometimes say, hey, can you actually pray for my relationship with my wife? We're not in a good space, for example. Can you please pray for my son, my daughter? They are, my son is involved with some things that I'm very concerned for him. Sometimes it's drugs. Oftentimes with big success, with big money, there's costs to that. Some of these costs is sometimes, these parents get absent from their children's life. And that absence in the children's life turns them into filling that void with something else, with perhaps some bad company, perhaps some bad habits. I have seen this happening so many times. So pray for them. This is something that does not matter where you're coming from a socio-economic perspective. If you're a follower of Jesus, you have direct access to God, and you can pray for people, and even people that are extremely wealthy, and they need and they appreciate our prayers. So that's, I think, the first lesson here. Because Elisha said, okay, let's find out what she needs. And he asks Gehazi, what can be done for her? Let's read the answer to that. Verse 14, please.
Verse 14 says, so he said, what then is to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, actually, she has no son, and her husband is old. So he said, call her. When he had called her, she stood in the doorway. Then he said, about this time next year, you shall embrace a son. And she said, no, my lord, man of God, do not lie to your maidservant. But the woman conceived and bore a son when the appointed time had come, of which Elisha had told her.
Okay. Let's just pause here for a second.
Sure.
What do you think about her answer? Please do not lie to your maidservant.
Yeah. Like,
Do you think she liked? Like, do you think that she had hope? Do you think that this was something that she really desired?
I think deep down this was something that she's been wanting for a very long time, and maybe she's hoped for and waited and maybe eventually given up hope, thinking it's just not happening. Either I'm barren and usually that's what women would think back then, because men would have multiple different wives often if they couldn't have a child by one, and it was never the man's issue, it was always the woman's issue, right? So she would have thought there's absolutely no possibility for me.
Please don't lie to me. Like, don't give me those false hopes. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be amazing, but like, please don't play up with my emotions here. You know,
this is a very like touchy subject.
Yeah, but you said that, I think, with a bit of a chicken tongue, because I think she's a woman of faith. So please don't lie to me.
Yeah.
But like, coming from you, it actually means a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And she had faith. I believe she had faith so much so that she conceived and she was holding a baby 1 year later. We're going to continue that story and see what happened then.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And now it's time for a quiz answer and a new quiz question.
Indeed, it is. This was the question that you guys were both stumped on.
Yep.
So here is the
Keen.
answer. What does Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 36 say the wind is going to do to Elam? It will scatter it into 4 quarters.
There you
That's the
go.
answer.
Okay,
Scatter it to
scattered
4
them.
quarters.
And big shout out to Big Dave here, who got the answer correctly. Well done, David. Thank you so much for playing the quiz game with us. Now, Mr. Elliot, what is quiz question number 2? We're ready.
Okay, this is a fill in the blank quiz question, and it's from Psalm 37, verse 4. It says, blank yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. We've got 2 correct answers. Obviously, a bit of a easier question this time.
Yeah, but I have to concede Lindsay did offer her answer a
Lindsay did
fraction of
come
a
in
second
first.
before me. So well done, Lindsay.
It was at least 1 whole second, actually.
There you go. If you know the answer to this question, send it in to 0491 064 669. Blank yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. What is that missing word?
Okay.
Awesome. All right, shall we move on back to our Bible study?
Yes, let's move on back to our Bible study. So Elisha identified a need, and this is something that we can pray for. We can ask people, say, what is the need? And he prophesied. He says, by the way, about this time next year, you shall embrace a son. Probably before he said that to her, a few things happened.
Okay.
Probably prayed to the Lord. It says, God, can I pray for this woman to conceive? And I imagine that the Lord would have said, yes, you go and ahead and tell her. He wouldn't be saying that on his own authority.
On a whim, yeah.
So I think this is a hidden second part here. So before you pray for people, pray to God and ask, what should you pray about even?
It's true.
So let's see what happens here in verse 17.
All right, verse 17. But the woman conceived and bore a son when the appointed time had come, of which Elisha had told her. And the child grew. Now it happened one day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said to his father, my head, my head. So he said to a servant, carry him to his mother. When he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon and then died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, shut the door upon him, and went out. Then she called to her husband and said, please send me one of the young men and one of the donkeys, that I may run to the man of God and come back. So he said, why are you going to him today? It is neither the new moon nor the Sabbath. And she said, it is well. Then she saddled the donkey and said to her servant, drive and go forward. Do not slacken the pace for me unless I tell you. And so she departed and went to the man of God at Mount Carmel.
Okay, can we pause here for a sec?
Ooh, we have 2 different locations, and I'm looking at the back of my Bible into the maps. Where are we going? I'm really excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she went to Mount Carmel. She's in the valley of Jezreel. So they're not far from each other.
Okay,
but
alrighty.
Yeah. They're not too close either, so it was a good journey. Now, question is, what stands out to you here in that part of the story? Because so the boy was out with his father, he was working. he has this sudden headache. My head. The father said, look, go, take someone to his mother, knowing that, look, your mom was going to look after you.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's the hot sun or something.
Yeah.
So she'll give you something to drink and you can rest a little bit. She can help you.
He was so unaware that something dire was taking place.
Yeah. He wasn't aware.
Yeah.
And then his mother was, he sat on her lap and she was looking after him, but he was just like, growing weaker and weaker. He died on her arms.
Yeah.
Right in front of her.
Yeah.
That was a shocking story.
Yeah.
What did she do next?
She went and lay him on the bed that Elisha usually slept in and closed the door. So I guess nobody could go and see. I guess that was a private part of the house that nobody visited. None of the servants would have gone in there to check on things. It was just unoccupied in general. And then instead of going and crying to her husband and saying, oh no, the boy has died or anything, she hasn't told anybody what has happened. Only she knows that the boy is actually dead in this moment. And then she asks for a donkey and a servant and, hey, I just got to run a quick errand to go find the man of God. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Like, I'm really noticing sort of, I guess, the mask that she's got on emotionally here. And this is what we saw just before the break with the song. We were talking about how when Elisha said, hey, you're going to have a child this time next year, and she's like, no, don't be joking with me here. Like, she's hiding the deep emotions under this mask of, oh no, that's not even possible, or oh, like in this moment, like it's like there's this mask of nothing is wrong. I've just got to go and chat to somebody quick.
Yes, I find it fascinating how you saw that, this mask. I tend to look at that, in a bit of a different way.
Okay.
I don't see that so much as a mask that she's wearing. Because, look, it struck me that she didn't tell the husband what happened. And instead of wearing a mask, I think that she's a woman she said, look, I'm not going to worry my family, my husband, before I actually try to do everything that it's in my power to do. And this is a child that has been given to God. And I think that she said, look, surely God would not have given me a child just so that that child would just die like that. Surely the man of God has an answer to that. For that, surely, and before I declare my child dead properly, I won't do so without talking to God first. I won't do so without talking to the man of God first. It's kind of funny, the answer that the husband said. He was a little bit skeptical.
What do you need?
It's like, man, today's not the Sabbath, not the full moon. Like, well, why would you want to talk to him? What's kind of wrong?
She says all is well.
And she said, no, it's all fine. Just leave it with me. It's all good. Just need to talk to him. It's an important thing. Which some people think that if she told the husband that the son died, the husband was a little bit skeptical about, hey, but okay, he died, but like, how could how is the man of God going to help you? So he's kind of mocking at her. I tend to see him in a more benevolent light.
Okay.
I just look, he doesn't know what's happening. But perhaps, look, he knew that the boy was not feeling well. But then he was skeptical about, like, but how is the son of the man of God going to help out in that situation? I try to. There is a little bit of skepticism, I think, I can read in this voice.
Okay.
It could be just that he was completely unaware. Maybe he just thought the boy was just, he's going to be fine. So
He's gone down for a nap in the meantime. Like, this is something unrelated. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that she laid him right on the new room, which probably the family does. It's not the typical room that the husband would go and enter, for his own bedroom or anything like that. But I think that she's a lady that is used to kind of get things done.
Yeah, and look,
she's a woman of action. This one,
she's clearly a younger woman than he is, a man, right? He's a very old man. It's been stated. And she's younger, so she's probably married him, being married for the wealth that brings into her family or something. Look, maybe she loved him. Maybe she also worked around him a lot. Maybe she was like, hey, I have my own sort of ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Like maybe they weren't particularly close on every detail in their lives. So she was like, hey, this is more of a marriage of convenience or a connection than it is feeling
possibly.
super close with her
Possibly. But look, I like how she was very respectful of the husband. She said, look,
yeah.
can I settle
She's
some
definitely
donkeys? She
submitted,
says, like,
yeah.
why is that? She, look, no worries. I'm going to take them. Like,
Yeah.
so she will find her way. She said, look, I'm just asking you because that's the right thing to do. I'm
Yeah.
being polite.
Yeah.
But I'm going.
Yeah.
If you're not helping me, no worries. I'll sort it out myself.
Yeah.
And then she goes. And we'll see what happened after in verse. Keep reading here. Drive and go forward. Verse 24. 25, sorry.
Okay. And so she departed and went to the mount of God at Mount Carmel. So it was when the man of God saw her afar off that he said to his servant Gehazi, look, the Shunammite woman. Please run now to meet her and say to her, is it well with you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, it is well. Which, by the way, it's not true.
Yes. And again, do you think that she's like hiding? What do you think is happening here?
I think she was like, I need to get to the man of God. He is the priority right now. Like, nobody else here is going to be able to help me. And if I answer, oh no, like this bad thing has just happened, and she's talking to the servant, she's not getting directly to the man of God that she
Yeah.
needs. I think she's just like, I'm on a mission. I don't want to be slowed down. If it means I have to tell a little white lie on my way just so nobody slows me down, I'm going to get to the person that I know can help.
Yeah. And I don't think she lied necessarily.
No, but
she did. She was not
she
answering.
deflected.
She
Yeah.
deflected.
Yeah.
Because she look, it's all good.
Yeah.
But she look, Gehazi, you're not the person that I have intimacy with, an intimate relationship or a friendship
Yeah.
with. So in the same way, like, even if you're having a difficult day, Lindsay, when people ask you, hey, Lindsay, how are you going? You're going to say, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
You're not going to be pouring out,
No.
that you had like a horrible day.
Yeah, exactly.
To just someone who you barely know.
Exactly.
But then when you come to God, that's when you actually want to pour out your heart. And that's what she's going to do with Elisha. And I think this is amazing. I think this is something that, this is a lesson for us as well. I think there are some people, some Christians that they are very quick to unleash all of their frustrations on just random people.
Sure.
Either, particularly when they are the victims or they see themselves as a victim
Yeah.
of situation, and then you're letting everyone under the sun know how big of a victim you are. And I think we should be a little bit more like the Shunammite woman, saying, hey, you know what? If I am thinking that I'm truly a victim of anything, well, instead of making myself a victim, let me just talk to God first.
Yeah.
Let me go to God first. Let me tell God, hey, God, look, this is how much of a victim I am. And let's see what God is going to say. And a lot of times, sometimes we are the victims. But sometimes we are the perpetrators ourselves. And I think that God helps us to have that clarity when we go to Him with an open heart. So let's see what happened in verse 27.
Yeah. Now, when she came to the man of God at the hill, she caught him by the feet, but Gehazi came near to push her away. But the man of God said, let her alone, for her soul is in deep distress, and the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me. So she said, did I...
Just a pause here. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Elisha did not know what was going on.
Yeah.
The Lord had not revealed that to him.
That's so interesting. I guess, like, the man of God, whether it was Samuel, whether it was Elijah or Elisha or whoever it was in the Old Testament, I guess God often would tell them, hey, this is what's going on
Yeah.
for that person well in advance, so they'd be able to, like, speak into it. But maybe in this moment it was better that God left him in the dark so that he would, like, be... like right there asking her and having that relationship.
Yeah.
Because if you just know something, you can feel really detached without it being offered up by that
Yeah.
person. Right? I
Yeah.
think this is a moment of emotional connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, he noticed that she was distressed, but he doesn't know exactly what
Yeah.
has happened.
Just let her go through the process to explain it when she's ready.
But I think that there's also a very interesting theme that we're starting to see here in Elisha. Elisha was arguably the most powerful miracle worker
Yeah,
in the Bible.
He did
apart
exactly
from
twice
Jesus
as many
and Moses.
miracles as Elijah did because he
Yeah.
asked for that double portion of the Holy Spirit.
But in all those stories, we're being highlighted with Elisha's limitations. So the first story, Elisha was not inside of the room when the oil was being multiplied.
Yeah.
In that story, Elisha doesn't even know that something's wrong. So he's saying, hey, look, the power is not in the prophet.
No, it's not.
It's in God. The prophet
Yeah.
is just a vessel.
Yeah.
The power is all in God. It's not like he's a special man. So I think it's fascinating. And we're going to see that story even playing out even a few more times to really drive this point home. And I think that the story of Elisha is an amazing story for people of all ages, not to idolize prophets.
Yeah. Yeah.
That story, I think it's those stories are really big in helping that. So Gehazi was trying to push her away. This is why I mentioned that there's a little bit of a security bodyguard kind of a role that he played. He thought that it wasn't appropriate for her to be touching the feet of his master, but his compassion kicked in and said, "Hey, look,
Just
wait a minute.
hold on.
Yeah, she's
Wait
in
a
distress.
bit.
Like, don't add to her burden any more than she already
Kind of
is
reminds me
feeling."
of Jesus and the disciples. They're trying to push people away from Jesus a bit, and Jesus is like, no, let them come to me.
Yeah.
Whether it's the woman with the flow of blood or whether it's the children or whatever, they're like, hey, get away.
Yeah, many times
Yeah.
for sure.
It's not how God works, not how the man of God works either.
It reminds me when Jesus said to Mary, leave her alone. When they were, Judas was criticizing her for buying the perfume that would be anointing Jesus' feet.
Yeah.
Let's read verse 28.
28 says, so she said, did I ask a son of my Lord? Did I not say, do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, get yourself ready and take my staff in your hand and be on your way. If you meet anyone, do not greet him. And if anyone greets you, do not answer him, but lay my staff on the face of the child.
Okay, let's pause here for a second, Lindsay. And I want to pause the story here. We're not going to see how the story finishes because I want to give the grand finale a proper study and a proper analysis tomorrow. But I think that last thing that we can see here, again, that we can learn is like how to read people, in particular how to read people's needs.
Sure.
She didn't say to him with all the words what was going on. She couldn't.
No.
She was upset.
Yeah.
She was in distress.
Yeah.
So she said, Didn't I tell you not to lie? So he's not asking, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
Something happened to the child.
Yeah.
She couldn't even say it with the whole words. And I think this skill of anticipating other people's needs, this is a beautiful God-given skill. We remember, Lindsay, when we were talking about the story of Joseph a way back.
Yeah.
When Pharaoh looked at Joseph and says, surely this is a man in whom the Spirit of God dwells. One of the things that we spoke about, like, why did Pharaoh come to that conclusion? One of the things is because Joseph was a man who anticipated Pharaoh's needs. Says, Pharaoh, this is what's going to happen. This isn't the interpretation of your dream. But by the way, I'm not only just giving you the problem, I'm also giving the solution, a proposed solution. You should appoint someone
Take
who
20%
is
in
skilled,
taxes.
take the 20% in taxes, prepare a bit of a rainy day savings for the time
With the 7 years of famine.
after the 7 years, so you can use that. You can use that as a buffer.
Yeah.
And Pharaoh was so impressed, and I think that one of the things that he was impressed was that, and I think that today in this day and age, we often this is a skill that I very rarely see. People who, without being asked, they're already, their minds are scanning through, they're trying to perceive what needs do you have, and then they're trying to anticipate those needs and to serve you before you even asked. And I mentioned about a guy that worked with me when I was in the army in Brazil, and there's this soldier called Pedro. Pedro was like that guy, remember? Like, but he noticed that my desk was always a mess. So every time that I got into the office, like my desk was absolutely immaculate. Never asked him to do that, not even once.
Yeah.
I was even embarrassed to ask that.
Yeah.
But you know what? He said, look, Skafy has a need here. I'm going to help him out. Not even going to ask him, but I know that he needs a little bit more of order in his world, and I'm more than happy to provide for that. So there are people like him. I think that we should all be like Pedro, like Elisha, like Joseph, being people who anticipate other people's needs. This is perhaps a challenge for us today. It's God, whose need can I anticipate today and do something for them?
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
I am now going to ask my friend Elliot to fight the quiz battles for us and reveal to us the quiz answer.
All right. The quiz answer is blank yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. It says delight yourself in the Lord. That's the answer. Delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart from Psalm 37 verse 4. So well done to everyone who answered that correctly.
That would be a theme for a nice sermon. 5 ways in which you can delight yourself in the Lord.
Are you going to preach that this Sabbath?
Not particularly this Sabbath. I'm going to be preaching about the 7 churches in Revelation. But that would be definitely a good topic to think about.
Awesome.
Speaking of which, we're not only going to be talking about delighting in the Lord, but we're going to have delightful topics to talk about today. We're going to be looking at a house that was made with very natural components here.
Yeah.
Lindsay is going to be sharing with us an earth
Ship.
However, so it's very interesting. We're also going to be talking about a pastor that claimed that Donald Trump knows the Bible better than the Pope, and we're going to see why is that the case, and we're going to evaluate why.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.